Fans, we are looking at a game between Alex Grischuk with white and Fabiano Caruana with black. The game was played in St. Louis 2018 and it's a rapid game. Um, this video will contain 8 training questions to help you with your chess. So Grischuk played knight f3 and Caruana played d5, b3, c5, e3, knight c6, bishop b2, f6. We have a rare variation of the Rieti opening. And training question number 1, f6 is a little inaccuracy. What should white do? d4. Looks a bit intuitive because it blocks in the bishop on b2. But actually, after takes, white is controlling the e5 square. And the e5 square is critical because the pawn on e7 needs to move, because it's blocking in the bishop and the knight. But it would like to move to e5. That was the whole idea behind f6. But now it can't because white has firm control of the e5 square. The game continued bishop g4, bishop e2, queen d7, castle e6, rook e1, castle, knight bd2, bishop d6, a3, bishop, knight ge7, c4. Training question number 2. Black to move. Is there a weakness in white's camp? What should be black's plan? Bishop f4. The weakness in white's camp is actually the pawn on d4. Have a look, it's protected by the bishop and the knight. And black is now moving the bishop out of the way, looking at maybe exchanging this knight here as well, but more importantly, open up the line for the rook and the queen. And after d takes c, black is ready to win a pawn. And black also has the very harmonious move knight f5 to support this attack. And this brings us to training question number 3. How can white deal with black's plan and develop activity himself as well? The most principled response is c5, closing the center and preparing an attack himself. The center is now closed and white is planning to push the b-pawn, bring the queen in, bring the rooks in and the bishops and attack the king. Because the center is closed, the nature of the game is now very typical. White attacks and black attacks as well on the other side of the board while the center is closed. That's why the game continued h5, b4. Now, training question number 4. In this position, should black defend or attack? In these type positions, it's always an important question, should you defend or should you attack yourself? In this position, Fabiano Caruana played a6, defending. And if you look at this position, it's very clear white's plan is to push b5, and if the knight moves, then c6, and should this ever open, the king is under attack real quick because all these pieces here will not be able to come to help. So a6 plays against that. The game continued queen a4, renewing the threat of b5, and now queen c7. The idea is that after b5, a takes, bishop takes, all of the squares and the pieces around the king are safe. The king can escape to d7 and the rooks can swing over, and white's attack has come to a halt. And now black can attack. g5, bishop c3. And white already doesn't have a natural way to continue his attack. Now, training question number 5. In this position, how should black continue his attack? Bishop f5, strong move, opening the g4 square to push the pawns forward. Notice that it doesn't help, for example, to exchange here. and then move forward. The attack is much weaker. Okay, the game continued. Knight f1, a defending move, protecting the h2 square and preparing for g4. And now the game continued h4. It's actually a preparatory move, which makes g4 in the next move even stronger. Queen a8, king to d7, queen a4, rook a1, queen d1, and now g4. The knight drops back, g3. Notice that the other pawn break wouldn't help in this position. g3, f takes, h takes, h3. So black's position has been loosened up a little bit. But now, training question number 6. How can black crack open white's defense now? Okay. Rook a8 is what happened in the game. But the plan is actually to sacrifice the bishop on h3. And if white retakes with the pawn, to take with the rook, which is a sacrifice of one piece against 2 pawns. You know, a piece is normally worth 3 pawns. So even though this piece sacrifice might look a bit daring to do, actually if you think about it, it's really just sacrificing 1 pawn. And after rook a8 preparing this, you can see that all the pieces are attacking to the king. So even if you haven't calculated all the variation, this is a very strong plan, just if you only look at the material. The game continued knight to e3. White is seeing what black is planning. And after takes, h takes, g2, the knight drops to g4. Now in this position, training question number 7. Is white now actually threatening? Knight takes, excuse me. Is white now actually threatening to take the pawn on f6? The game continued, rook takes h3. Now, what happens after knight f3? Is black in trouble and loses the pawn? No, because king d8, knight takes, black has the resource bishop to e3. And now if the king takes, the king is mated. And if rook takes, then queen h2 check, king f2, and g1 queen mate. So knight takes is actually not a threat. White continued with queen to e2, attacking e6. And after rook takes, queen takes e6, king d8, queen takes g4. Last training question number 8. What is the winning move? It's a motive we have already seen. Bishop e3 check. And after king takes, only move. Queen h2 check, king f1, and queen f2 mate. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you learned a lot from these 8 training questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon.